Hi everybody, back for another installment here talking about the Fully-diminished-seven chord. In this video I'm going to get into how this chord resolves. Last time I was discussing how it's built, some of the spelling characteristics of it, the fact that it's intervallically stacked minor thirds. And so if you're not up to speed on that stuff, check out the previous video, but let me get into it here. Fully-diminished-seven chord, I'm going to build one on the note B. We would be in the key of C minor if we saw a triad like this. So stacked minor thirds, B, D, F, A flat. Okay, and I did talk about in the last video how you can respell these things and the fact that any of the notes can be the root of the triad. And so these things can resolve in a number of ways. If B is the root of the triad, what typically happens when these chords resolve is the root will go up a half step, so that would land on the note C. And again, it's acting as the leading tone chord going to the tonic chord, usually in a minor key. The third of the chord is going to typically go down a whole step and double the root of the tonic triad. The F also will go down. Because we're in a minor key, it's going to go down a whole step and give you the third of the tonic triad, E flat. And then finally, the seventh of the chord will also go down, and you end up go down a half step, and you end up on G. So what you end up getting is a doubling of the root of the tonic triad, third of the chord, and also the fifth of the chord. And this is typically how it resolves. Now, because any of the notes you can treat as the root of the chord, this B fully-diminished-seven chord can go a lot of different places. So let me get rid of this stuff here. And let's do the same thing, but instead of B being the root of the chord, let's make D the root of the chord. Now, if D is the root of the chord, all of these notes are going to be the same, but enharmonically it's going to be spelled a little bit differently. So if D is the root of a fully-diminished-seven D chord, D, minor third F, A flat, then a minor third above A flat, and I talked about this in the last video, is the note C flat, or enharmonically B, right? So the same thing is going to happen here if it resolves. The D is the root. It's going to go up a half step, so that's going to land on E flat. F, the third of the chord here, is going to go down a whole step, so that's going to double the root of the tonic triad, so E flat, E flat. The A flat also is going to go down a whole step, so G flat, E flat minor chord, and then finally the C flat going down a half step is going to land on B flat, okay? And so you end up with an E flat minor chord with the root being doubled. So just from this fully-diminished-seven chord, B, D, F, A flat, you can actually change keys to 4 different tonal centers. They're all going to be minor keys typically. And those keys would be the following: B, D, F, A flat. So B goes up a half step, you'd go to C minor. D goes up a half step, you'd go to E flat minor. F goes up a half step, you would go to G flat minor or F sharp minor, enharmonically. And same thing with E flat minor, that could also be D sharp minor. And then finally, A flat going up a half step, you would end up in A minor. Okay, so just with one of these fully-diminished-seven chords, you end up being able to modulate to 4 different keys using the root of the chord as leading tone. And because of the stacked minor thirds relationship between the notes, you can actually treat any of the notes in the chord as the root of the triad. So I hope that makes sense. This is just one way that these chords can be resolved. In the next video, I'll really get into the weeds because you can actually treat like you can treat any of these notes as the root of the triad. You can also treat any of these notes as the seventh of the chord, and you can go in all kinds of directions. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.